Welcome to Friendly Argument with J. Andrew Bernard and Jeremy Jones.
Let's do this.
New stuff, all the tangents, some politics, booze,
Some more politics.
stuff about Kansas, and lots of cheer scenes.
Friendly Argument is a podcast showcasing conversations that seek common ground across the aisle of American politics, as well as a few laughs. We hope you guys enjoy, and thanks for watching.
Well, welcome to Friendly Argument with J. Andrew Bernard and Jeremy Jones.
Hello.
This is our first ever recap conversation. Hopefully, it'll be 5 to 10 minutes of what we just talked about for something like an hour and a half.
Yeah,
It's
something.
been requested.
The first thing was the Georgia runoff election, which is tomorrow.
It is tomorrow, and then we will find out the results of it on Wednesday.
Whenever they get
maybe
around.
sometimes, in 3 months. Yeah.
Here's for the Georgia runoff. My hopes were if, both the Democrats get in, we will be able to make some progress and get some distance between us and China and the EU behind us. And the biggest fear is just gridlock, more gridlock.
So what I heard you saying was like the good thing that'll happen if the Democrats win both is that we will be able to unify and start actually becoming the best America possible, economically, geopolitically, and culturally.
Yeah, sure.
Is that fair? Is that a fair assessment of what you just said?
For the brief, absolutely.
Yes. Well, I am trying to stick to our format of an active listening
right,
conversation for this. So, and then your fear is that if the Republicans win, our government and therefore our culture and our people will be stuck in a gridlock of infighting instead of being able to focus on more outside threats, geopolitical threats in China, or general not being the best coming from with a EU ascendancy.
Yeah, we lose this number one seat at the table.
Yeah, we're no longer a shining city on a hill. We're a dull city in halfway up the hill.
Yeah, we're Athens, we're Greece, we're Rome.
And Sparta is coming for us. Okay. Do you feel is that a fair?
Yeah,
that's fair. It's good. Okay. So my big fear, I think my fears are very polar opposite to your fears, and hopes are polar opposite because I know, surprise. Because my big fear with the Democrats for taking both is that we will have one party who just assumes power to an unheard of level and makes it so it's legally very hard for a minority party to actually have any practical power going forward. So whereas you see progress, I generally see oppression.
Did you want to do both, and then
I guess I should do both. I did, yeah. I see, and then the thing you're scared about, I'm actually excited about because there's a minority gridlock that will last until probably 2020 or 2022, and then generally speaking, you would probably have a Republican, not a red wave, but probably the one house would switch back to fairly solidly Republican, and then we have a executive versus Congress or legislative branch fight, which is what I think is the intention of the founders.
Got it. So for the Georgia runoff, your fear is if the two Democrats win, that there will be oppression of the minority at the hands of the majority party. And if there is, your biggest hope is that it is gridlock for to keep those things in place for the foreseeable future until we can get a red wave and then start putting forth more conservative things at that point.
Yeah, I would say
the point because gridlock is the point of that the founders.
Yeah, it's the point of government is to only get the most important things done.
Got it.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There was a minor correction in the way that you had said the first bit, and I am trying to remember what it was. or a better way of saying it.
The fear.
It was the fear
oppression?
of systemic change that would eventually lead to the oppression of minority.
Check. Yeah. So your
Of
biggest fear.
minorities.
Got it. So the biggest fear, your biggest fear in the Georgia runoff with both the Democrats winning would be systemic change that would lead to oppression of the minority. Minorities.
Minority
by
view, probably minority viewpoints would probably be the
Minority
healthier way of saying that, since saying minorities almost exclusively in our culture means racial minorities.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. For good or ill.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did I summarize it?
Yeah, no, I think that was a good summary. So do we want to? I'm trying to think, like, the last part. I feel like that's a pretty good summary of what we meant to talk about.
Yeah.
So is there a way to summarize like like the meta stuff that we talked about, like our my defending violence and your defending tea parties?
Yeah. I think well, I'll try to summarize it, and you tell me how you feel about the summary. You feel like no one has any moral high ground over anybody else, any other American, so they have no right to tell them to change their actions. And I believe that there are some reasonable enough things that done in small amounts with the foreseeable issues at hand, you can put on some buffers.
I think the correction there would be, I don't think that the government has the right to put on buffers to American citizens in any action that is not detrimental to another person,
no matter how potentially detrimental.
I mean, we all drive cars, man.
Yeah.
Like, we could all drive. Any one of us could drive our car straight into a building or into like a power plant and blow things up. Like, I think that the social contract is the single thing to do that. And I don't think that's the government's position to do that.
And I think the government is us.
You think that yes. And this is where and this was a thing where I think we actually talked about, we have a fundamental disagreement about what the government actually is.
Yeah. And I think this would be a really great spot for folks to weigh in on, you know what I mean? Like how do they feel about that and think about that? And we also touched on the Republican Party sort of,
I think we talked about like the future of the Republican Party is kind of where
the future of the Republican Party.
Yeah. And I basically said that it either dies a slow death potentially. Who knows? The future is the future, and we don't know what it is. But that is one thing that I could see happening. Or the Republican Party basically stops being any kind of genteel about things. Yeah.
So
and I think maybe not at the I should probably have said this in our conversation. I don't think that that's necessarily true at the actual politician level, so much as like I think the general Joe Schmo, like mom and dad Bernard, might be a little more like, no, I'm going to voice my opinion at the dinner table than not.
So pretty well within bounds. It's not, tear down the government.
No. I think it's just, I think there's, well, I mean, and you can already kind of see this in like, there's a lot of groundswell in building alternatives in alternative options in conservatism at the moment. So that for like the 80s and 90s, there was kind of like nope, let's just disengage from culture and we'll just keep on winning politically because there's more of us. And then we're at the point now where we're like, oh, that was a terrible decision. We need to actually engage in culture.
Check. So, yeah. And I think that in brief was the episode.
I think that was our episode. So now we have a short version. So anyone who wants to listen to us talk at each other for an hour and a half ish. Yeah.
We're just letting it work.
Yeah.
Just throw it on in the background.
Yep. Yes, please do that because then we still get the points in the algorithm. So
And it's good political.
it is good.
When
Yes,
we're doing
it is good.
things.
If
Come
we
on.
do say so ourselves, it is a good conversation.
I believe.
I'm just grumpy because I have not had the amount of food that I'm used to today. So
Definitely less than 4 hours sleep for me.
yeah.
So,
So
I'm
anywho,
with you.
Jeremy Jones, we had a summation of a political conversation. I think we were friends in the 30-second interim between the things.
Yeah. Well done.
So we were friends before we started filming. I think we were friends during the filming of this, and I will be friends after.
Friends after. Cheers.
I definitely didn't have anything in there that time.
Welcome to Friendly Argument with J. Andrew Bernard and Jeremy Jones. Let's do this. News stuff, all the tangents, some politics, booze, some more politics, stuff about Kansas, and lots of cheer scenes.
Friendly Argument is a podcast showcasing conversations that seek common ground across the aisle of American politics, as well as a few laughs. We hope you guys enjoy, and thanks for watching.